One thing I can say though, because I've been seeing, we've been amateur together and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Tio can fight.
I'm telling you that. Tio can fight against Shakur playing out, because you want me to tell you the truth, like, this fight could have been the winner's bracket fight. In other words, they're jumping to it, but at the end of the era, it may have been Teo and Shakur, especially if you would never fight Shakur, right? How do you see this fight playing out?
I see it playing out, let's say, I see it starting off slow.
Okay.
And then I see as Shakur wins the first round, as Shakur wins the second round, slowly, I think Tio is going to eventually start picking it up and start imposing his will.
Right.
And then, it's just going to go from there. That's how I think it's going to go.
That's a fair assessment.
That's a fair one.
The world of professional boxing often thrives on the spectacular, the bone-crushing knockouts, the cinematic ring walks, and the verbal pyrotechnics of a press conference. Yet, beneath the surface of a sweet science lies a world of quiet discipline, intense psychological warfare, and a technical complexity that often escapes the casual observer. At the center of this world right now is a collision course between two of the most gifted athletes of their generation, Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. This isn't just a fight. It is a narrative of two diverging paths, a brotherhood forged in the fires of depression and recovery, and a tactical chess match that threatens to redefine the hierarchy of the sport. To understand the magnitude of this matchup, one must look past the bright lights and into the dimly lit gyms where the true stories are written in sweat and leather.
I'm confident. I'm knowing I'm about to go in here and beat him up, right? Man, I get in the ring, man. Why I cannot hit this man, right? I cannot hit him, but he touching me. So I was like, oh, this is different.
He different.
Like, he different. So I just keep, I'm 14, he's 16. I just keep going, I just keep going. So some's getting through, some not, some getting through, some getting not. And I felt as if I was to step off the gas pedal, he was gonna get me. So I just had to keep going, you feel me? And I know he explained that a lot of times in interviews, like that's why he respect me so much, because in that sparring right there, I didn't respect him at all. I was just trying to F him up. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what it was. And after the sparring, we respected each other. Like, it was a different type vibe after we sparred, honestly. Now it was like, oh, damn, bro. Like, damn. Like, we really started to get to know each other, you feel me? Because when he came to our gym, he was popular. Like, Shakur was the guy.
The legend of Shakur Stevenson's invincibility didn't start under the lights of a championship arena. It was whispered about in the high-intensity sparring sessions that serve as the proving ground for elite fighters. Keyshawn Davis, a rising star in his own right, remembers the first time he shared the ring with Stevenson. There's a specific kind of humility that comes from being an elite athlete and realizing you are in the presence of someone operating on a different tempo plane. Davis recalls entering the ring with the cockiness of a young lion, fully intending to impose his will on the man known as Shakur. He was confident, he was fast, and he was hungry. But once the bell rang for that sparring session, the reality of Stevenson's genius became visceral. Davis found himself swinging at shadows. No matter how much he pressed forward, no matter how much he stepped on the gas, he simply could not find his target. Stevenson wasn't just defending. He was dissecting him. He was landing counterpunches with surgical precision that left Davis both frustrated and awestruck. That afternoon changed everything for Davis.
Cerebral young talents.
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Tio has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
Can't even hang with him.
Yeah, he's too little. Bud is too big for him.
Right. As far as skills, though, do you think he's on par with the likes of Terrence?
I'm not going to say he's on a Terrence Crawford level of skills, but he's very skillful. He got a lot of things with him that puts him at a high level.
One thing that was interesting to me was it seemed like you were going to move on from Matchroom, but now Eddie Hearn is involved in this, and this is a Matchroom event, it seems like. I know it's a ring card too, but he's promoting it here in the United States. So what is the state of your relationship with Eddie and Matchroom at this point?
Eddie's my guy. I'm actually not signed to Matchroom, but he's my guy. I'm a big fan of Eddie Hearn, and Nothing but respect to him. But I'm glad he's the promoter that's on his card. I'm glad to share the spotlight with his promotional company.
So if he's your guy, how come you're not signed to Matchroom?
I mean, it's just business. If it makes sense, then I will. You know, if it come down to it and that's what makes sense, then we'll do it. But right now, I don't think it makes sense.
Okay, so are you just more of like your own man at this point, your own entity?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Do you negotiate with the ring people, with Turkey? You just do that yourself?
No, me and
It wasn't just about the physical dominance. It was about the psychological shift that occurred once the headgear came off. There was a mutual respect that could only be earned through that kind of competitive violence. In the boxing world, Shakur was a guy, the amateur standout everyone knew was destined for greatness. But for Davis, he became something more than a rival or a peer. He became a brother. The bond between these two men goes far deeper than the technicalities of a jab or a hook. Davis has been candid about his battles with deep depression and the time he spent in a mental health facility. During his darkest hours, when he withdrew even from his own family, it was Stevenson who remained a constant presence. Shakur was the one on the other end of the phone, offering advice that actually landed and showing up at the facility to ensure Davis was straight. When Davis emerged from that period of his life, it was Stevenson who pushed him back into the gym, reminding him of the love he had for the sport. This layer of human connection adds a profound weight to the competitive landscape they both inhabit. It is a reminder that even in a sport as brutal as boxing, empathy is a vital component of the champion's journey. Standing across from this fortress of discipline and brotherhood is a mercurial, explosive, and undeniably brilliant Teofimo Lopez. If Stevenson is the surgeon, Lopez is the lightning bolt. His career has been a roller coaster of historic highs and baffling lows, but there's one undeniable truth about the takeover. He rises to the level of his competition. When the stakes are highest and the opponent is considered elite, Lopez transforms into a pugilistic master. His victory over Vasily Lomachenko was a watershed moment for the sport, proving that his athleticism and power were backed by a high-level boxing IQ. Though he suffered a shocking setback against George Kambosos Jr., he reclaimed his status by dominating Josh Taylor in a performance that many thought was beyond him. Lopez is a fighter who lives for the big stage, and in Shakur Stevenson, he has found the ultimate foil. Analysts like Bozy Ennis suggest that the danger Lopez poses to Stevenson is rooted in a unique combination of athleticism and unseen power. In the world of elite boxing, the most dangerous punch is rarely the one you see coming from a mile away. It's the one that arrives at the speed of a reflex. Ennis argues that speed is power. The heavy, muscle-bound fighters often telegraph their intentions, but a fighter with the velocity of Stevenson or the explosiveness of Lopez can end a night with a shot that seems to materialize out of thin air. This technical reality makes the upcoming clash between Stevenson and Lopez a terrifying prospect for both camps. There's a sense that if Lopez underestimates Stevenson's ability to sit on his punches and hurt people, he could walk into a trap. Conversely, if Stevenson allows Lopez to dictate the rhythm through sheer physical aggression, the Newark native could find himself in the most precarious position of his career. The setting for this showdown is equally significant. Madison Square Garden, the mecca of boxing, is the only stage large enough to hold the gravity of this fight. For years, the Garden has been relatively quiet regarding major main arena boxing events, but this matchup brings the sport back to its spiritual home in the United States. The geography of the fight adds a layer of regional pride that is impossible to ignore. Teofimo Lopez hails from Brooklyn, a borough with a storied boxing history, while Shakur Stevenson represents Newark, New Jersey, just a short train ride away from the heart of Manhattan. This is a backyard brawl played out on the world's most famous stage. Veteran journalist Dan Raphael points out that this fight is the culmination of a long-term vision. Both men were Olympians, Lopez representing Honduras and Stevenson winning silver for the USA, and both spent the majority of their professional development under the top-ranked banner. They have shared undercards, watched each other grow, and finally, the trajectories of their careers have converged at the exact moment they are both in their physical and mental primes. Former champion Tim Bradley sees this fight as part of a larger, more encouraging trend in the sport. For too long, Boxing was held hostage by promoters and managers who protected their zero at all costs, avoiding risky matchups in favor of easy paydays. However, a new generation of fighters, led by the likes of Devin Haney, is breaking that mold. They are testing their mettle against one another while they are still young, ensuring that the fans see the best fighting the best. Bradley issues a stern warning to anyone calling or watching this fight. Do your homework. This will not be a rock 'em sock 'em brawl where two men stand in the center of the ring and trade until one falls. It will be a battle of nuances, tiny adjustments in footwork, feints that take minutes to set up, and a constant struggle for an inch of territory. If you don't understand the high-level intelligence at play, you might mistake the technical mastery for a lack of action. But for the purist, this is as good as the sport gets. Stevenson's approach is rooted in defense first. He is a master of the hit and not get hit philosophy, a style that can be frustrating for opponents who are used to bullying their way to victory.